Tennessee is known as the volunteer state. Tonight you'll find out how many of us actually have the volunteer spirit. You'll meet local music legend Larry Raspberry, who's still rockin' on. And you'll find out if annuities are right for you. Funding for the Best Times is provided by the Plow Foundation, striving to do the greatest good by helping the greatest number of people since 1964. Additional funding is provided by the members of WKNO. Thank you. Hello, I'm Chris Hardaway. Welcome to this edition of The Best Times, a series that looks at life after 50. One of the most interesting people I've met while doing this show was a woman named Jo Wood. Jo could often be found backstage at the Action Auction or behind the phones during our pledge drives as one of our valuable volunteers. As I got to know her, I discovered that she had a passion for volunteering her time, mostly with performing arts organizations throughout the area. If you've been to Theater Memphis or GPAC or the Orpheum, there's a good chance that Jo Wood ushered you to your seat. Jo told me that she wasn't a couch potato. Her calendar was filled with volunteer dates. She took great satisfaction in knowing she had helped out somewhere and hoped that she was an example to others her age. Jo Wood passed away in 2013, but her spirit definitely lives on. The volunteer spirit. Bob Wallace is a 68-year-old former biomedical scientist, college professor, and journalist. When he stopped working, he met retirement head on.
You know, I am not the type that is going to spend their retirement playing golf or sitting in a boat fishing. I just really, that would drive me bananas. So I was looking for something meaningful and something that would be sustaining for me.
Bob has chosen to fill his retirement working as a public relations volunteer at the local chapter of the Red Cross, a role that often places him in disaster areas across the country.
My job while I'm there is to tell the story of the people who've been affected by the disaster and also to tell the story of the Red Cross response. Over and over, one of the things that we hear when we're out there is that yes, the stuff that you're providing us, the food, because we are providing meals, the water, the shelter, but having somebody there to tell their story to is really important.
When Marilyn Whedon retired, she was looking for a way to stay active.
When I retired, the Green Line was open, and that was so exciting. So I thought, well, maybe I can volunteer with something in relation to that.
Today she stays active as a volunteer docent, leading hikes along the Tour de Wolf Trail.
So it's a way to get out in the park with other people, to enjoy it, to teach them about what's available here.
Teaching the history of the park is volunteer docent Bill Wilson's passion.
I like volunteering. I stay as busy as I want to be, sometimes maybe a little busier, but I enjoy volunteering. I get a lot out of it. I probably get more out of it than I put into it.
Steve Freno is a 56-year-old FedEx employee, and this morning he and his daughter are delivering meals as MIFA volunteers.
In my personal, professional life, I have a great family, great wife, great kids. I have great hobbies, great things. I travel. I'm going to Alaska this next week to do a photography trip. And so, yeah, I want to keep doing this because all of those things didn't just happen. And I want to pay back a little bit to the community and the world.
In the Memphis area, slightly more than 1 out of every 4 citizens volunteers their time. That's a total of well over 300,000 people, which puts us at slightly above the national volunteer average. The total dollar value of volunteering in America is nearly $173 billion. Here in the Mid-South, most of our volunteers work in fundraising, followed by distributing food, mentoring youth, and tutoring and teaching. And not surprisingly, most Memphians volunteer at their church or religious organization, followed by educational institutions, health organizations, and social services. At any given time, over 300 volunteer opportunities are listed by Volunteer Memphis, the clearinghouse for volunteer services in this area. Carol Gaudino is director of Volunteer Memphis.
I think if someone wants to give back in a unique and important way, I think volunteering is the best way to do that.
This is a group of college students from New York. Instead of spending their spring break partying on the beach, they're packing boxes at the Memphis Food Bank.
We have a staff of 40, and we could not do what we do without volunteers. Last year, we had more than 11,000 volunteers to come through our doors to help us sort and pack food to get it out. The use of volunteers allow us to be more efficient with our dollars and spend more money on food. For every dollar we're able to save with volunteer help, it allows us to distribute 3 meals.
The next time you visit Shelby Farms, realize that an army of volunteers keeps this park running.
Volunteerism is the heart of Shelby Farms Park. We are a staff of 26 that are employed here, and so we every year have around 35,000 volunteer hours a year. And these volunteers work sometimes weekly, daily, monthly. They give of their time to support the park.
Whether it's leading hikes at Shelby Farms or giving tours at St. Jude, whether it's delivering food for MIFA or building a Habitat for Humanity home, the work of volunteers benefits the community. But with demand greater than supply, the need for volunteers in Memphis is critical.
When you look at the work that volunteers can do and the capacity that they add to an organization, without question, they're critical to the operation of the organization.
Carol sees a positive future for volunteering led by the aging baby boomers looking to make a difference in their communities.
I think most baby boomers are probably a little more discerning about volunteering, and they tend to have either causes or specific organizations that they feel like they want to get involved with. So maybe that's the agency that I always thought about doing something for, but really haven't had the time.
The impact of volunteers on the community is obvious, but the act of volunteering has a surprising impact on the volunteers themselves.
It gives me a sense of satisfaction, a sense of purpose. Through my career, one of the things that I've discovered, at least for me, is there was an inverse relationship between my salary and the degree of satisfaction that I got out of whatever I was doing. And my salary here is 0, but my satisfaction level is really high.
Studies of volunteers age 60 and older have determined that volunteering provided both physical and mental health benefits. Interestingly, similar correlations were not found among younger volunteers, so the feel-good factor of volunteering may help you live longer.
Today we'll go out and deliver 13 meals, and I know I make a difference in those 13 people's lives. And I know that the rest of my life is still going on, and it's crazy. When I get to work later, I'm going to be half a day behind in everything. But I feel so good. I mean, there's nothing better than Wednesdays, because I come in and I work on Wednesdays. And it's just very satisfying. And I can go to work and I go through the rest of the day knowing that I made a difference.
Red Cross is not a religious organization, but if you put it in religious terms that a lot of people in our community, I think, could resonate with, it helps to build one's soul, the deepness, the deep part of you inside of you. I actually love what I do here.
For more information about volunteer opportunities, contact these organizations or visit their websites. If you're of a certain age, you probably have fond memories of spending many nights and weekends in the clubs and restaurants of Overton Square. And you probably rocked the night away to the music of one of the square's regulars, Larry Raspberry and the High Steppers. 50 years ago, Larry and his high school buddies hit the charts with Keep On Dancin'. And now, all these years later, Larry Raspberry is still rockin' on.
Let's take a trip back one more time to the Dixie Diner with Larry Raspberry and the High Steppers! God made the world and it made it round!
Let's just begin at the beginning.
Okay.
Okay. You were born here in Memphis, grew up in Memphis.
Correct.
Were you always musically inclined?
I think that I was, because my parents encouraged it so very much. I'm one of those guys who, there are pictures of me at age 4 in a little white suit and bow tie with my hair slicked back, standing on a chair, singing somewhere. Mostly church, occasionally school, but mostly church. My sister was 5 years older than I, so she was 9 when I was 4, and she could play the piano. My sister would accompany me, so we were a family act.
When were you bitten by the rock and roll bug?
Well, I was 8 when Elvis and Carl Perkins and Jerry Lee sort of started blossoming out of Memphis, and so we really were at the ground spring of a national and world music movement, and then the music moved me. I thought the music was great.
So, who would you say were your influences musically?
Well, definitely the Rockabilly Kings, Carl Perkins, Jerry Lee Lewis, Elvis, of course, but the other two equally as well. They were doing something special. Roy Orbison, Buddy Holly, but really the Memphis camp, the Sun Records camp, were the first people that I sort of started to resonate to. And then the radio began to play Fats Domino and Little Richard, and Little Richard was really the one that kind of set me in orbit. I thought he was doing something extremely unique and special.
Now, I noticed you go on stage barefoot.
Yes.
What's that about?
Well, it's a comfort thing. It's my turf, so I get to dress like I want, I guess. Somewhere back in the 70s with the High Steppers, we would play a lot of outdoor things. And I was a barefoot boy. I had some country roots and so forth, and I enjoyed being barefoot. I showed up here today barefoot with my shoes in the car. And it's just, it feels good. It's a comfort level for me, so I take advantage of it.
Nevertheless, I'm going to do this song for you right now. It's for all you people that are old enough to remember it. It's called Keep On Dancing. Keep on dancing. Keep on
Let's talk about the Gentrys. When did the Gentrys get started?
They got started when we were sometime after the turn of the 60s, when we were in about the 10th grade. And that would have been around 62 or 63. We were a group of high school kids that all went to the same school. A guy named Larry Wall, or not a guy, the guy named Larry Wall. Larry Wall was the drummer in the Gentrys. And his father was like my father, a music lover, wanted his kid to be able to pursue whatever talent he had, and so he was a drummer. He and I founded the Gentrys together, and we added very quickly a trumpet player named Jimmy Johnson, who helped us find a sax player and a bass player.
And the hit record was big.
The hit record was a #4 record in the nation. Keep On Dancing as a hit celebrates its 50th anniversary this September 2015.
Can you believe that? Can you believe it's 50 years?
We didn't want to brag till we were sure.
But can you believe that it's been 50 years? Does it seem like 50 years?
Time flies when you're in debt. Now, it does not, and yet when I recount the episodes and the stories and the pop-offs that I've got if somebody tips my vase over, I have a lot of them. But it does, it's amazing how fresh those events seem to you when you go back and look at them.
Now, you had that #4 with Keep On Dancing. Did you think, I'm going to be a rock star at that point?
Well, I think that personally I was a little bit, I was a little bit too pragmatic to think I was a rock star, but we were. I mean, by the definition of that day, we were. Now, we became less of a rock star when the second record came out and didn't hit, and then even less when the third one didn't hit. You know what I mean? You get your moment.
Rock and roll will make you rant and rave. It'll send you to another grave. Rock a band or what's a man. Whoa! What a lovely way to go.
The High Steppers, you know, the era of the 70s, we were at the 45th anniversary concert for Overton Square, and you guys were such a part of Overton Square history. I mean, you were Overton Square for many years in the 70s.
Yeah, it was what it was cracked up to be back then, and now in our memories. It was a vibrant, eclectic, electric, innovative, energetic place. And it was the place you wanted to be. And it wasn't so easy to break through that. You had to have some public acceptance because you had to make those rooms money. But we were able to do that. And I just enjoyed the company of some marvelous musicians. So it doesn't surprise me now when I relive those times that we made very good music, if I do say so, because they deserve the credit. But they were playing that stuff, world-class caliber musicians.
Nevertheless, we're here tonight to remember, have a great time, rejoice, invite all those millenniums that didn't know what it was like back in the 70s when we started all this rigmarole, that it still can happen. It's our legacy to them. There's no cure, only temporary relief.
Now, when you get on stage, you have an electric presence on stage.
Well, thank you, because I'm plugged into something.
Yes, well, but beyond that is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
You really, I don't know, it is like a cross between, or a compilation of, maybe Little Richard or Mick Jagger. I mean, you throw all these people together and you get you.
Well, you're probably witnessing me get a lot out of the performance. It's a very natural state for me to be in because I've done it a long time. And I'm having a good time, can you tell?
I remember walking into Peach's record store, and I was confronted by a life-size cardboard cutout of you promoting your No Accident album. And I thought to myself, you know, if the record company's pushing this hard, Larry Raspberry and the High Steppers are going to be huge, huge in the business.
Yes, we thought that too.
Didn't quite click for you, did it?
No, and that's the more common tale. Very honestly, we can go back and look at Dwight Twilley and Phil Seymour and a group of people that came from all that, and it didn't. And so who knows why? Could have been the selection of material, could have been that if you think about No Accident, we crossed some borders in No Accident. We had some lyrical content and some things that made it be heard and seen above the rest, but they were mainly sensational things more than artistic things. Now, I'm not trying to diminish my songs. I still like my songs. But yeah, that's the more common tale, and I don't contemplate that much anymore.
Let's look back again. Let's look back and forward. When you were in the Gentrys, back when you were 17, 18 years old, could you have pictured yourself now at this age? Still rocking?
I lost my father when I was 16, and my mother stayed single through most of the rest of my adolescence and young adulthood. She met a wonderful man who courted her and asked permission to marry her. And when he came to talk to us about marrying my mother, he said, I want you to know that she'll be well provided. I know I'm asking her to leave her job, and but he said, but we're in the twilight of our years, and we don't want to take up a lot of time with a long courtship. And here's my point, Chris. They were younger then, and I agree with them. Oh yes, you're getting on up there in years. You're old, and so let's be kind because you're old, and they were younger than I am today, and they accepted their retirement and all that, and you know, but here's the balance. They turned out to be right. I didn't have them very long. I didn't have either one of them very long after that. Their health changed, took some pretty dire left turns to the negative, and they were smart and wise to have pursued the moment now when they realized they were in love with each other and wanted a life. As I see all the other people, the Paul McCartneys and the Mick Jaggers, not to class myself with that lofty, but Delbert McClennan, the country, the jazz, when I see all those people and we're still playing, why shouldn't we be? I mean, why not? I actually feel that way about sports figures. I don't think Michael Jordan needed to quit till he wanted to quit. I didn't agree with the people that said stop when you're in your prime. I think Michael Jordan will always be in a prime for the class he's in. If he didn't want to do it, that's his business. So I'm hoping that I can keep doing it as long as it fulfills my audience and it's not a burden for them to enjoy it.
Yeah, you're the man who wrote Rock and Roll will Make You Rant and Rave.
It'll send you
to an early grave.
Yes, yes. But as science continues to develop more ways for us to have quality life, it's still an early grave. How's that? How's that? I don't think I thought I'd be doing this. Well, here we go back to your question of the rock star. If you're going to be a rock star and you think you're going to be at 17 or 18, you won't need to go do that at 68. You'll be on your boat like Johnny Carson, traveling the Riviera. So we all got tangled in there somewhere is what I thought. I didn't think very much about the then. I thought mostly about the now. I was young.
I have a feeling that, like that song, you're going to be keeping on dancing for as long as you can.
And prancing, Chris. Keep on dancing and prancing.
Right. Thanks. This was fun.
Yeah, I had a great time. Thank you, my friend.
Deciding which investments are right for your retirement savings can be a tricky task. Annuities have been a popular form of investment for years, but are they right for you? Let's take a class in Annuities 101. What is an annuity?
Well, an annuity at its most basic definition is really a contract between an insurance company and an individual or an entity. Now, the terms and conditions of a contract, they can vary greatly, and it's so important that the person buying the contract or the entity buying it really understand those terms, because the variances of the contracts depend on the benefits that are being designed for that particular client. So no annuity is the same.
Are there different types of annuities?
There's fixed annuities, there are variable annuities, and there are index annuities. There's equity index, fixed index, and then there's immediate annuities, and that's what a lot of people think about, where they're getting an income stream right away. And in many cases, if you do that, then you have no access to your principal. So you have to be careful and understand really which type of those annuities you're buying.
What are the advantages of annuities?
One of the greatest benefits that we're finding retirees are loving inside annuities is a guaranteed stream of income that they cannot outlive, or they and their spouse cannot outlive. The other feature or rider that some annuity companies provide is a guarantee or a protection of the principal. I cannot lose my initial principal. So you put in $10,000, you know that you will never get less back than that $10,000. So that's a feature that's great. Some annuity companies offer guaranteed death benefits if that's what's important to the client. But this guaranteed stream of income and this guaranteed potential return of principal or guaranteed death benefits are the features that have become so attractive for retirees, and it's making the popularity of annuities just rise rapidly.
What are the disadvantages of annuities?
So you have to look and see, what age am I, and is there going to be any illiquidity associated with this contract? Meaning, have I just signed that I promise to leave my money in for a year, 5 years, 10 years? And if I come out, what are the penalties and fees associated with coming out early? The other disadvantage sometimes for some people is the lack of investment choices. There are limited investment choices. Different annuities offer different investment choices. The other thing are the cost. If you buy a plain investment like a mutual fund, and then you buy that same mutual fund inside an annuity, it's going to cost you more because the annuity has fees and charges.
Is my money protected?
Annuities do not have FDIC insurance, government protected guarantees, government provided guarantees. That is not the kind of guarantees. And when we talk about it being insured, it's an insurance company. Who's insuring it? The insurance company. So the guarantee, different annuities offer guarantees, but those guarantees are being backed by the financial stability of the company.
Who is the ideal candidate for an annuity?
I have had clients that are very young purchase annuities, and I've had clients that are older purchase annuities. A retired person may just want to supplement an existing pension, supplement Social Security. They may want to make sure that they can't lose their principal. So at all ages, married, single, it really just depends, once again, on what somebody's looking for. And they're not for everyone, but they are fabulous, fabulous investment vehicles if they're used properly.
Want more information about life after 50? Go to our website, wkno.org/besttimes. And send us your feedback and story ideas to besttimes@wkno.org. That's all for this edition of The Best Times. Please join us next week for more stories about life after 50. Until then, I'm Chris Hardaway. Thanks for watching. Good night. Funding for The Best Times is provided by the Plow Foundation, striving to do the greatest good by helping the greatest number of people since 1964. Additional funding is provided by the members of WKNO. Thank you.